No, this is me.
Okay.
Oh, God. I assume I can just go now.
Yes.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of Chuck versus the Podcast, brought to you by the Oh Hi Oh Guys production, powered by RealNerdCorp.com, live on twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp. If you didn't already know, I'm your host for the evening. I'm the Crown Vic of podcasting, and this is going to be a shit show. I'm Alex Swisher. Joining me, as always, is my trusty co-host. I didn't pick one, so I'm just going to use one that I remember. Uh, uh, Burton Oil Can
I'll take it.
Chad Porto. Chad,
Episode
I hate you.
4. Title. Tiny Weapon Standoff.
When was there a tiny weapon standoff?
Episode 7, I think.
Oh, man, I don't remember any of that. That was 3 weeks ago.
They were fighting on the airplane, and Chuck pulled out like a little tiny alcohol bottle, I think, and the woman pulled out like a small little ice pick.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Timothy Dalton's like, "Ooh, tiny weapon standoff."
Tiny weapon standoff.
I heard that. I'm like, "That's dumb." That's the name of this episode.
Dude, Timothy Dalton was awesome.
So, let's go and kind of just do the admission. Season 4 isn't the strongest of the seasons.
No, but I think overall Volkov as a villain isn't awful.
There's so there's so much I want to say about this. I feel like there's a lot that they could have done differently with Volkov. It's spoiler because it's 7th fucking episode, so it's not a big deal. They introduce Chuck's mother, and it turns out she's 20 years deep undercover with MI6 with Volkov, and her handler with MI6 is Timothy Dalton, whose name is, what is it, McDoodle, Stoodle, Scoodle? Something. Hang on. Let's see if I can find it.
Do you want his real name, his MI6 handler name, or
His MI6 handler name?
I don't remember his fucking MI6 handler name.
It was like Tuttle. It was Tuttle. Like the fucking
Tuttle.
Harry Potter character. So his name's Tuttle. And he's like, "Oh, geez, Charles. I didn't mean to be terse with you." And it turns out that Tuttle, Timothy Dalton was James Bond. So they put over this idea that Timothy Dalton is going to be this James Bond-esque character, but it turns out he's super not. And he's all like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm such a klutz here in the field." And then at the end of the episode, it turns out that Tuttle is not really Tuttle, and Tuttle is the villain of the season, Volkov. And it's like, oh, all right. But it would have been a much bigger swerve if you had him longer. I think this is emblematic, or I should say specifically problematic to the idea of seasons 4 and 5 having a stripped-down budget. Because they couldn't afford Dalton for more than 6 episodes, which is why they brought in little-used, relatively unknown Lauren Cohan for 5 episodes in this season. This is right after she finished up with Supernatural, I believe. So this is pre-Walking Dead Lauren Cohan. And she's gorgeous. Love her.
Oh, she's great. Her character sucked.
Her character at first was great. But then she's like, "I'm a spoiled daddy's girl, and now I'm sad and boo-hoo-hoo-hoo."
Yeah, it really did suck because it's just like she goes, "You stole everything from me," and Chuck goes, "Yeah, well, if you'd let me explain, you'd realize that none of that's true." No, you stole everything from me. Nah, I didn't. CIA maybe, not me.
Not even the CIA. Your own father. He did it. It was him.
Yeah.
All him. So, first and foremost, Ray Weiss was in this. He played the devil in, what the fuck is that show called? Reaper. You ever see Reaper?
No.
Oh, it's real good. No, it's real. So, Ray Weiss is the devil, and the main character, Reaper, sells his soul to save his dad's life. So the devil comes to
Mhm.
collect, but instead has the main character who's that dorky, nerdy kid in everything from 2004 to like 2012. And he has him become his personal reaper. So whenever anyone like escapes hell, they send him to go do it and take care of it. And he brings all of his buddies with him, and it's fucking hilarious. So it's really it's honestly I'm not gonna say it's the next show we should do a review on, but watch the pilot. If you like the pilot, then maybe consider doing it for the next show because it's only 3 seasons.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
it's real good. I'm gonna send you a picture of the guy so you know who the main character is because like you're gonna see him and go, yeah, he was in everything.
All right.
And he's always playing that big personality guy.
He looks like Clay.
From which
One Tree Hill.
oh, there's so many Clays I know though. He kind of does. I mean, I could see it. Clay Evans, douche Evans. So, yeah, Reaper's pretty solid. Anyway, back to Chuck. So, general premise of this season show is the CIA rebuilt the nerd herd and put a bunch of CIA agents, and it's hilarious because it's like super efficient. And Morgan's like, no one's gonna believe that you guys aren't spies when they come in here. So Chuck and Morgan go looking for Chuck's mom to start the season off. She doesn't want to be found, so they can't find her. They rack up like $40-something thousand worth of credit card debt because being a spy is very financially draining. And they're forced to find jobs. And Chuck goes to all these meetings, can't find a job because everyone keeps falling asleep or getting sick or disappearing or just calling security on him. And eventually it ends up with Chuck having to get a job at the Nerd Herd again.
Mhm.
And so he finds out that Beckman's the new manager of the Nerd Herd. He ends up rejoining the CIA, even though he doesn't want Ellie to know. Morgan becomes the new manager of the Nerd Herd, and they bring back several of the old Nerd Herd crew to make the show, essentially run not so efficiently.
Yes.
And the best running gag of the season is the revolving door Agretas.
Oh yeah, everybody's named Greta.
So we start off with the first Greta, Isaiah Mustafa, a large black man. We also have another Greta, Summer Glau. Actually, Isaiah Mustafa replaced the third Greta, which was Summer Glau.
He didn't have a normal name in the first couple episodes. He
No,
was
he
Greta?
was no, he didn't even have it. He because he came back, didn't he? He came back in the latter parts of the episodes.
Yeah, he comes back later on along with Legs herself,
Yes.
but we'll get there.
So that's when I think they both became Gretas at that point. But one of them was already a Greta. Summer Glau was a Greta, Olivia Munn was a Greta, and Stacy Keebler was a Greta. And the best part is when we
Yeah.
first see Stacy Keebler, she's in an episode with the returning Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Hell yeah.
And they even have a little tiny fight scene where Stacy Keebler in high heels does a nice well, what would you call it? High angled spin kick, high angled front kick, roundhouse kick.
I don't remember which kick. I know that she did hit him with a kick. I just don't remember what the kick was.
I think it was a roundhouse kick because it was just
Probably.
left to right across the chin, and Stone Cold took it and then punched her in the face.
Oh, he decked her.
Just there's gonna be 2 hits, honey. You hitting the floor and me checking out. What?
Huh? You
So,
wanna run that by me again?
I love when they fuck that lineup in all the movies. There's gonna be 2 hits, honey. Me hitting the floor, you check. Wait, hang on. Let me do that one again.
No, the best one of those of all time is Brandon Routh and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. He goes, "Tell it to the cleaning lady on Monday." What? The cleaning lady. She cleans. You'll be dust by Monday. He goes, what? And he goes, the cleaning lady. She dusts. And you'll be dust by Monday. Why Monday? Because it's Friday now. And she's got weekends off. Todd, whatever, man. You get my point.
Like it actually works even without having to explain it. You
Yeah,
know,
no, you don't have to explain it,
and then he does. Oh, that's great.
but Scott's just an idiot and doesn't get it.
So, so the gang's back together. The first episode sees Casey and Sarah stealing an EMP from Volkov with Dolph Lundgren.
Oh yeah,
We went super into the guest stars this season.
Dr. Dolph.
Dr. Dolph, Dr. Doogie Dolphington. We also have I was going to say Scott's mother. God damn it. We also have Chuck's mother, played by Linda Hamilton. She's in here for 11
God,
episodes.
her face bothers me. I don't know what you want me to say.
I know nothing. We also get McKenna Melvin back as Alex McHugh. And Alex is playing, obviously, the daughter of John Casey, who is now dating Morgan Grimes.
I love it.
The best episode featuring these two was definitely the Valentine's Day episode.
Oh my god, with the tantric sex.
They're not even doing the sex part. They're just doing the tantric emotional building where they're like breathing and like huffing and puffing. And then who the fuck should walk in?
John Casey.
John goddamn Casey. What are you doing to my daughter, Runt?
There's one of the best moments with Casey in this season where everything with Volkov happens and then he's no longer Volkov and goes back to being Hartley Winterbottom.
Yes.
And he turns and he sees the frame picture of of Reagan. And he sees the frame picture of Reagan and he goes, "Is he still in charge?" And John Casey just goes, "God, I wish."
So I sent you a video of the best part of all of Chuck in its entire Chuckdom.
I remember this very clearly.
Where Sarah gets her wings.
Oh my god, that was the best.
We gotta play it at least once. Boom! Everyone should want a girlfriend like Sarah. She wants to talk about problems. She wants to do everything she can to make her man happy. She's the perfect girlfriend. Oh, and she can kick ass too. That's fun.
And take names.
And take names. Although not in season 5, but we'll get there eventually. So, let's hyperspeed through this because unlike previous seasons, this one isn't as interwoven or as dynamic. There's really 3 arcs that I can think of. There's the Volkov arc in the first aspect. Then we kind of have a little downtime, and we get the Team A or A Team episodes, the 3-parter, and then we get Volkov Jr. It's essentially the Cell Saga of Chuck's series. It's not strong.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
It's super not strong. So we will hit the best parts, but I'll just do a quick recap of all the episodes real fast. Chuck versus the Anniversary season premiere. Chuck and Morgan go looking for Chuck's mom after the end of season 3 when Chuck's father posthumously gives Chuck information about his mother still being alive and where she might be. Ellie reveals that she's pregnant. Olivia Munn makes a guest star as Greta, and Chad is a happy boy. In Chuck versus the Suitcase, Chuck and Sarah have a little disagreement about how Sarah's going about moving in or the lack thereof. They go on a trip to Italy where Lou Ferrigno is the bodyguard of a notorious smuggler and criminal. And Lou Ferrigno confessing his love to, I think it was Carolina Kirkakov, is some of the most fucking hilarious nonsense I've ever seen. It's beautiful. I fucking love it. Then in episode 3, Chuck versus the Cubic Z, Big Mike returns to the Biomore to ask...
Big Mike.
Big Mike. He asks manager Morgan Grimes for a position and Morgan gives him a position to help out during the. It's like their version of Call of Duty. They're doing a midnight
Oh
release
yeah,
for
that's
it,
right. Yeah.
and Big Mike helps out. At
It
the
was like
end,
Spy something, wasn't it?
it's
It
like
was called Spy
it's
something.
like Spy Assassin or some nonsense like that.
Yeah, it had something to do with spies because, of course, it had to do with spies.
Right. And this is also the episode where we see Stone Cold and Nicole Richie return to the franchise as Hugo Panzer and Heather Chandler, respectively. They're under arrest and being moved to Yucca Mountain, but Hugo Panzer's been paid by Volkov to kill Heather Chandler. It's just one of those things. The good guys save the day. Heather Chandler gives Chuck a little bit more of a piece as to the is your mother puzzle. So it's going. It's going.
This episode actually was pretty cool from what I remember because the like running around the base with fucking Hugo Pants, big ass Stone Cold Steve Austin chasing them around with a AR-15.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember this episode being very cool.
It's also the
Was
episode where
that the one?
Stacy and Stone Cold got into a fight.
Yeah, was this also the one with them crawling around in the vents?
Yes.
Yeah, because Morgan was in the vents.
No, not Morgan. Morgan wasn't in the vents. It was Heather, it was Sarah,
Oh yeah,
Chuck,
yeah.
and then Casey eventually.
There's an episode later where Morgan's in the vents where it's Large Mart versus Buy More, and they stole Kevin Bacon.
Yes. Which is
That's
just a
when
fucking
Morgan gets
pig.
in the vents.
Kevin Bacon's just a pig.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon is just a pig.
I love the real Kevin Bacon and the pig Kevin Bacon. Then in Chuck versus the Coup d'etat, we get the return of the Generalissimo Amanda.
Oh yeah,
So
Generalissimo.
Generalissimo's back. I think they invited them down to Costa Bravas, where they danced and they sang, and then his wife, who's Tea Texada, yes.
For those of you listening at home, Chad just got hard.
No, I was emotionally strengthened. I want to say that she was in. Was she the woman from The Matrix?
I don't know.
No. I don't see that she is. She was gorgeous. She is gorgeous. I shouldn't say was. She was gorgeous in the episode is what I meant to say. So she was there. She's sleeping with the Generalissimo's number one. They're staging a coup d'etat. The Generalissimo charms his wife back to his side, and they arrest the mutineer, but not Tea Texeda because there's a god.
There is a god.
They eventually reveal to Chuck that there is another portion of the puzzle to where Chuck's mother is. So we further on down the road. Then we get another WWE crossover. At least at the time it was, because this is still when he was with the company. At least I think it was. Maybe it was right after he left. Dave Batista, Eric Roberts, and Joel David Moore are members of John Casey's old Clinton era team.
Of course they are.
They all
Of course Batista is.
Right? They all decide to steal a bunch of gold back in the 90s. John Casey then arrests them all because of course he did. He's John goddamn Casey. And in order to draw them out and arrest them, because they're apparently looking to... I think they were either looking to buy something or sell something, or one of them had just popped up on the radar for the first time. It was an opportunity to bring them in is essentially what this was. So
Yeah.
John Casey allows them to fake his death. They put him in a coffin. They put him with like this dulling thing that makes him look like he's dead. But he's still very much cognitive, so he's looking around and shit. And eventually, poor John. Chuck's like, I just realized everyone here is an agent. We're his only friends. Even when we fake his death, people don't show up for him. And John just stares and growls.
He's so mad. My favorite thing about this entire show is the John Casey growl.
Yeah. Eventually, the bad guys show up. They steal John Casey, assuming he's dead. They want his body parts, his trophies. He eventually is able to regain some movement, but he gets injected with some more shit, and he ends up falling out of a window and hiding in a garbage can. Jeff and Lester, of all people, are there to save the day.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's right.
it's all right, John. Sometimes we just need to get right. Fucking Jeff. So eventually, Morgan ends up having to be the one who break him out of the couch lock because Morgan calls Captain Awesome. He's like, awesome. John Casey's got, or no, he's like, Jeff is currently has a cage at the couch lock. How do I get him out? And he goes, oh, yeah, just raise his blood pressure, and it should, help even things out and get him awake. So poor Morgan goes, John, I'm dating your daughter. And John throws his hand around Morgan's neck and lifts him off the ground.
So good. I love goofy shit like that.
It's the best. Eventually, the bad guys are kidnapped after Morgan basically almost kills himself. He grabs they go to, I think it was like Iraq or Afghanistan to get the gold. A water pipe bursts, and Morgan grabs an electrical cord and jumps into the water to take out the baddies, nearly killing himself at the same time, but they bring him back with CPR, and John no longer... it opposes the coupling of him and his daughter, but he still does not like it.
Yep.
Chuck vs. the Isle Terror sees Dr. Stanley Wheelwright come in. It's played by Robert Englund, a.k.a. Freddy Krueger. And the best part about this whole episode was Jeff and Lester were tasked with putting in a Halloween display in the Buy More, thinking that it's going to be, it's going to be like orange jack-o'-lanterns and little witches and black cats and all the goofy shit that we would put up in elementary school as a kid, right? No. They end up going with a multi-pronged...
The Isle of Horror.
A multi-pronged aisle of television screens with nondescript images that Jeff finds extremely disturbing. My favorite was the interspecies friendship.
Interspecies friendship?
And it's just like a dog and a kitten like booping each other in the nose. And Robert Englund's like, that's not right. That's not right.
Oh, yeah, because the whole premise of this episode is he developed a fear toxin. He literally was just Scarecrow from Batman.
He was. Literally what he did.
And he had built up an immunity to it, so he sprayed him and Chuck towards the climax of the episode. But he had built up an immunity. But he didn't actually build up an immunity to it. He just built up an immunity to actually scary things.
Well, what actually, because there's a major part of why Jeff set up the way he did.
Yeah, Jeff got paid to do a psychology thing.
Right,
at a college.
And the tests were to it was done to elicit fear in psychopaths.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right, because Jeff is actually a psychopath.
So, like, all these things wouldn't bother a normal person, but someone with some deep-seated issues, whether it be, psychosis or sociopathic tendencies, these are things that would elicit, things from them. So, England thinking that, here's Chuck seeing all the villains and evilness and monsters and boo-ha-has. But yet, Robert Englund's like, wait, old people holding hands? What? And I love when Chuck's cycling through them. He's just like, old people!
Oh, yeah. Old people!
Babies as plants! No, I think it was like babies in costumes. And Robert Englund's like, a baby as a sunflower? That's not right!
That's not right!
And eventually he has a psychotic breakdown and leaves. Then we also get, I think this was the episode where Chuck's mom finally does show up. I think.
The episode after that?
I think so. Hang on. No. Chuck vs. the Isle Terror is the episode where his mom does show up because they go to the playground and Sarah's there.
Oh, yeah.
And fucking, I'm all right with it in this context, but ever since this show came out, it's now become a very big, and I hate the word goddamn it, trope for guest starring actors to do their big lines or to do the big lines of these certain actors. Like, watch an episode of Legends of Tomorrow. There's no actual dialogue. It's just pop culture references.
It's just pop culture.
It literally is. There's no actual plot. It's how can we get in this Star Wars reference? How can we get in this Terminator reference? How can we get it? Fuck off. But when they did this, it wasn't as abundantly forced into television products like it is now. So I don't have an issue with it, but I still don't like it. So, of course, Linda Hamilton, fantastic actress, played Sarah Connor. First moment in the episode, she shouts, "Come with me if you want to live."
I hate it.
It's not great. At the time, it was fine, but now it's been so overdone. I forget which one it was, but there was a show where someone shows up and goes, "Come with me if you don't want to die." But it was done like so over the top.
I don't know which one it is, but I know what you're talking about. I don't know what movie or show it is, but I vaguely remember hearing, he's like, "Come with me if you don't want to die."
Chuck versus the first fight was Chuck and Sarah had a fallout from Sarah kidnapping Chuck's mother at the end of the previous episode. They're holding her against her will to investigate and interrogate about Volkov. This was also the first episode of Timothy Dalton's appearance on the show as Gregory Tuttle. It's revealed he's actually Alexei Volkov at the end. And much to everyone's chagrin, Linda Hamilton's character, Chuck's mother, ends up using it. I was going to say a device, but let's be honest. It was a goddamn PSP.
It was a PSP.
She used a PSP to suppress the intersect in Chuck's brain, taking away his abilities to flash.
That shit sucked.
Right.
Like, which is going to be an even bigger, like, worse reason for why we don't like season 5. Chuck, I understand that they want to, like, show that Chuck is capable without the intersect, and, like, these 5 seasons of the show weren't for nothing. But fuck, dude, the intersect is such a cool concept in a TV show, and to just get rid of it from a great main character, a great protagonist, is such a just cop out bullshit thing to do.
I agree and I disagree. I agree in the sense that it is a very cool mechanism. I would have actually liked a longer arc in season 4 of Chuck trying to keep up but failing, resulting in him having to actually either get good or get the intersect back. I thought that would have been a very interesting way of going about things. And this is my overall problem with season 4. There's a lot of small, great 2 or 3 episode arcs. But the show as a whole works best as a symphony, not as a EP. You want every episode to hit and be a banger. You don't want there to be drops and layoffs. I think the arc of Chuck's mother taking away his ability to flash and making more her not an anti-hero but an anti-villain, where she is doing things that are problematic and dangerous, but she's doing it for the right reasons. Like she wants to protect her son, so she's taking away the ability for him to flash. Having that be an actual arc throughout season 4 would have been huge, but instead they really rush everything for the mid-season finale, but we'll get there. So in Chuck vs. the Fear of Death, Rob Riggle shows up as a... what's the name of that motivational speaker who's like 7 feet tall?
Tony Robbins?
Yes. So Rob Riggles is a CIA Tony Robbins.
Oh, yeah. What was his name?
Agent Jim Rye.
Jim Rye, that's right. Oh, dude, he was great.
So Chuck's...
I forgot about Rob Riggle.
He was only in one episode, that's why. So Chuck was taken to Switzerland because they deduced that his intersect isn't permanently suppressed. It's still there, but he has to unlock it, and they feel that the best way to do it is by channeling the fear of death and getting that fight or flight response to generate and bring it back. So the one thing that they end up doing with this is they take him to, I think it's like Sweden or something like that, and they're hunting down the Belgium. Intergalactic, what the fuck? An international diamond smuggler. Riggle ends up, though, getting Chuck to the point of almost flashing, but then Riggle gets killed by the Belgium, and then he gets kidnapped. Chuck gets kidnapped. And this is where we get one of the best episodes in the entire series, Chuck versus Phase 3, where Chuck is in, I think it's like Southeast Asia, I think they said. And Sarah, Casey, and Morgan finally get a lead on where Chuck is and go get him. And every time that Sarah comes in to kick ass, everyone calls her, what the fuck did they call her? Lady Boy? Or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, the she male.
Yeah, the she-male, because she just kicks the shit out of every dude. But ironically enough, like it's a great juxtaposition because you got Sarah Connor in this series now, and you have Sarah going through the entirety of Southeast Asia, beating the shit out of everyone like the goddamn Terminator, to the point where she enters I think it's a Muay Thai tournament. And she has like the big wrappings around, and she just beats the shit out of all these dudes. And they're like, "All right, let's tell her where he is." And all the while, Chuck's memory is fading away, and like you're jumping from Sarah trying to rescue him to Chuck's being stuck in his memory, with all these moments, leaving him. And he eventually gets to a point where he's like holding on to one memory. I think it's of Sarah, and they're all like telling, it's the real Sarah's telling Chuck to come on. Leave, like walk away, and the other Sarah is telling him to stay, but it's kind of one of those ideas where if he stays, he dies, but if he leaves, he would be saved, and he ends up leaving, and he comes back, and it's a really great fucking episode because like
It is good.
the strength of this series is based on Chuck and Sarah because they're such a great couple with such a unique dynamic to them that really no other series has done as well. So like this again, like there are really great moments, really great ideas, but I feel like they tried to rush them, didn't have the budget to do what they wanted to do, or were under edict from NBC to get in all these dumb fucking cameo guest stars. Because even though there's been cameo guest stars for the last 4 seasons, it really felt like that was the purpose of season 4 was to get all these extras on, and I don't know why.
Yeah. The best thing about season 4 was that they just did what no other show does when it comes to the fucking will they won't they shit. Besides, I don't want to say that because that's not entirely true. Because season 5 and 6 of One Tree Hill were all about just Peyton and Lucas being together. Bleh.
Not really. It only really happened in season 6. And even then we had the will they won't they because we're like, oh, Peyton might die.
Yeah, true. Fair point. Yeah. So they just like in season 4 of the show and most of season 3 too, they're just like these two are together and nothing is taking them from each other.
Well, I would even go as far to say starting from season 1 because you knew how they felt. Like this wasn't a will they won't they, it's a when will they.
Right.
Sarah,
you're right. Yeah.
I said every name but the two I wanted to say. Peyton and Lucas were very much does Lucas love Peyton? Peyton loves Lucas, but Lucas loves, not Rachel, not Megan. What is her name?
Huh?
Peyton's best friend.
Peyton's best
Brooke.
friend, Brooke.
God damn it. You're so slow. Then Lucas loves Brooke, and then Lucas loves the girl next door to Brooke, and then Lucas loves Lindsay.
Oh, God.
So, like, yeah, generally speaking, that was a will they, won't they, but this was just a when will they. In Chuck versus Leftover, we jump past the Thanksgiving episode to the Black Friday episode, and it's called Thanksgiving Leftovers. It's Chuck versus Leftovers, actually. And Chuck and company are finally done with Black Friday, and Sarah's good. Not Sarah. I said Sarah because her name's Sarah Lancaster in real life. Chuck's sister Ellie is going to host a post-Thanksgiving meal. Everyone comes over, and so does Chuck's mom and Lexi Volkov. Lexi Volkov is now aware that Frost, a.k.a. Chuck's mother, is the mother of 2 children, including one being Chuck.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really great episode. Morgan and the Buy More crew get to do their thing at the Buy More, which is also great. Hilarity. Yeah. And Ellie is unaware that Volkov is Volkov until they leave. So good stuff.
I don't think she finds out that Volkov is Volkov until later on.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Chuck versus the balcony. Chuck struggles with the escalation of his relationship with Sarah. Meanwhile, they are sent on an impromptu spy mission to France to recover. Oh, okay. This is the one where Chuck finally decides he's going to propose. Let me ask you something.
Oh, yeah.
In the episode where Chuck is losing his memory, did Morgan tell Sarah the plan that Chuck had? Or was that later on?
When the episode when
No,
Chuck
it was
loses-
this episode. That's right. It was this episode. Because Sarah finds out that Morgan is hiding Chuck's proposal plan. And Morgan starts explaining to her like, oh yeah, he's had this proposal plan since he was like 12. He's got rid of the dune buggies and the parachute divers. So he's matured it a bit. So when they go to France, it's shot under the auspice of this, like Chuck's going there to propose to Sarah, and Sarah's aware of this. So Sarah's actively trying to make sure the proposal happens. So like Chuck misses the ring, Sarah finds it and then like sneakily places it back into his pocket.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's fan-fucking-tastic. I love it. So
she said, I'm gonna make sure this proposal goes off without a hitch.
Yep. And she's like super pumped. And I love it because if it wasn't for the episode where Chuck's losing his memory, I don't think Sarah would have been ready for all this, considering how we started the episode 2 with Sarah like unsure about marriage and pregnancies and kids and all that, but now she's gung-ho for it. Yep. And the one part that I love it is like Sarah's got the ring box in her hand because Chuck dropped it. And the mission failed, and they did the mission. They find out they failed the mission, so they had to go back and do the mission, and that's where we're at. It's at the end of the episode, and Sarah's got that box in her hand, and it's the sunset, and Sarah's like, "Look at the sunset, Chuck." And Chuck just stares at it, and she like sneaks the fucking box into his fucking coat jacket with like goddamn sleuth skills. It's fantastic. And
it's great.
And the best, like, dude, like, I remember watching this going, wait, what? At the end, because as he's reaching in and getting ready to kneel, all of a sudden, CIA agents storm the compound and arrest Sarah for treason. And Chuck's just standing there going, what?
And what's the reason for it? Because in the next episode...
Well, in the next episode, we find out that General Beckman is aware that there is someone in the CIA working with Volkov, so she arrests Sarah to frame it on her so that Sarah can go undercover and find out the leak. So
go infiltrate Volkov Industries.
So it's not that she's actually done anything. This was just done to place Sarah in a position to actually go in and get things done.
Because at this point they know that Frost, a.k.a. Linda Hamilton, works for Volkov. Mm-hmm. So they're putting... The reason for this was to take Sarah and put her in Volkov Industries so Frost and Sarah could take it down from the inside, even though I'm Linda Hamilton. I work alone. That bullshit gets said like 8 million times this episode.
You're despising of Miss Hamilton is disconcerting.
Well, she fucking... Dude, I don't hate Linda Hamilton. I hate Mary Bartowski.
That's fair. Mary Bartowski is kind of the worst. She is not. She is not anything like Scott Bakula.
Dude, Stephen J. Bartowski was one of the best parts of this entire series.
Yep. And he does.
He's caring.
He does make a cameo in season 4 and season 5, though. So.
What cameo did he make in season 4?
It was a voiceover in the episode where where Ellie learns about the car.
When she finds the computer.
Yes. Well, yes. You're right. Because it was an audio, it was a message. That's right. So then in Chuck versus the Gobbler, they find out about Yuri the Gobbler, who is a...
Oh yeah, Yuri the Gobbler.
He's a large Russian who, lives up to the moniker. They kill him, so it's not really a big deal. But it was done to kind of showcase that Sarah can do this, and also this was the episode where Sarah ends up having to go full gore, and I believe this is the episode where Sarah shoots John, or not shoots him, kicks him out the window.
Because he's like, there's a painting platform 40 feet below us. I've survived 60. Is one of my favorite. So she kicks him out a window. He falls 40 feet to this painting platform, but the painting platform collapses, and then he falls all the way down.
Was it a painting platform or was it a window washer? Because I thought the cord snapped, and that would imply that it was a window, but it could have been a painting platform. I don't remember. He hit a bunch of wood, and then the wood was like, "No, John Casey, fuck you," and then John Casey's like, "Oh, god damn it," and then falls like another 100 feet.
Let me say this. I'm going to assume you are correct, and I just assumed it was a painting platform because I wasn't paying attention, and when he landed on it, I saw buckets, and I was like, oh, paint.
Fair. I don't remember which one it is, but he hit
sure
something.
It was a window washing platform, yeah.
It was some type of platform that was either attached to the building or was suspended above the building. He hits it at 40 feet, falls another 100, though, and it fucks him up. This does set up a lot of great stuff in Chuck versus the Push Matrix. I keep wanting to say Matrix. Push Mix. Where Alex and Morgan are worried about their big buddy, or her father in that case. And then he eventually wakes up.
Oh, man, yeah. When he wakes up and kills that dude with a bonsai plant. That shit rules.
So in Chuck versus the Push Mix, Chuck and I think Morgan may have been involved, end up getting Ellie. And God damn it, no, I'm just fucking up everywhere. Chuck and Morgan get Sarah and Mary Bartowski out of Volkov's clutches, get Volkov arrested, and get back in time for Ellie to give birth to their baby. This episode was like 57-60% action and 40% other stuff.
Devin freaking out.
It may have only been like 20% of the episode, if not less, but them going to the hospital was the best part, and do you know why?
Because Jeffster performed?
Yes, but not the reason.
Oh.
What's the best reason? Of all people should know this.
Don't they sing Push It to the Limit?
They sing Push It by Salt and Pepper.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But they go, my dear Swish friend, to Sacred Heart. Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The hospital room that she's in is straight up just from that set.
They don't do... It's literally just Sacred Heart. You can see the Sacred Heart logo. It's the Sacred Heart entryway. You can see the Sacred Heart entry little gift shop where Sarah Lancaster sold gifts to JD.
What was her nickname?
Gift Shop Girl.
Gift Shop Girl.
Gift Shop Girl. No, I'm right here. Where? Put your hand down.
Put your hand down.
And in the hallways, they are. Everyone's wearing. It was a goddamn Scrubs crossover. Granted, there was no Scrubs characters, but still.
Yeah, like the hospital room that John Casey was in was literally just one of the solo hospital rooms. Like from, I can't. This is the only episode I can reference because it's the episode I remember the most. Season 8, episode 2. Where they have steak night.
Oh, God, the most depressing fucking episode. Oh, God.
It's not the most depressing, and you know it.
It is the most depressing, and you know it.
I thought we agreed that... Well, no, not the most depressing. The saddest is My Fallen Idol.
Well, that's the most... sad is such a multiple... That's the most heartbreaking, because you finally see Cox as a human. You know? That one hurts. The saddest might be the one they lose Laverne. The most depressing is definitely fucking Steak Night, because it's, oh my God. The most cringy is the one where the bulimic chick comes back and it turns out she has AIDS.
Oh, yeah, that was a bad one.
Yeah.
I think that one is like so sad is because well, one, George, the old black man, is a fantastic character because
Oh,
he
he's
just
so good.
JD goes just says, I just hope that when I die that my last thought is a happy one. And George goes, is that supposed to be deep? He goes, I'm over here dying. He goes, I'm over here dying, and that's all you can say? That your last thought is a happy one? That shit's so funny. But they top that. They top the fact that he's such a good guy and like such a funny, heartwarming character. They top it with they play "I Will Follow You Into the Dark" by Death Cab for Cutie over top of it, and that song makes me want to fucking cry.
Same here because I hate that fucking song.
Well, fuck you. All
It's
right.
it's like I'm all super sad and shit, and then I hear "How to Save a Life." I'm like, never mind. We're good.
How to save.
I like that JD even realized that song sucked because in like season 6 or 7 they were doing that clip show episode. And they're like, sometimes when I'm in a certain mood, I like to think of that one phrase song. Where did I go? No, not that one.
Not that one.
So in
So
Chuck
yeah,
vs.
they go to Sacred Heart.
Yes, and Jeffster definitely do play Push It to Ellie trying to give birth to a baby.
That shit rules.
Eventually, though,
Uh,
they show up in time, and everyone runs into the room before Ellie could give birth, and they're like, everyone needs to get out except for one person. There's too many, Dad, and who else? And Sarah, God damn it, Ellie says, "Mom," and she stays behind, and everyone else leaves. And then
no, it's not what happens.
what happens?
Devin's already in there.
Yes.
Family shows up.
Yes.
Nurse says
Everyone needs to get out.
only
except for
one person can go. No, they don't get into the room. They say only one person can go in.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I got the one banal point wrong.
Look, I don't remember a lot of this shit, so you have to let me contribute where I can.
That's fair. So not Morgan. Eventually, Mary comes out. It's a baby girl, I think, and everyone's like, "Yeah!" But as they're kind of sitting there, everyone's like chilling, and like Chuck and Sarah are off on their own, kind of just sitting there as the janitor buffs and whacks the floor. And you just see Chuck kind of stand up and then squat to one knee and then pull out a ring. And Sarah does the "oh my god yes" hand signal with her face, and they hug. And it's done only to the hum of the cleaner. You can't hear or anything that they're saying or doing. And it's such a great shot to end the episode.
Well, if you actually look closely, a little Easter egg in that scene, the janitor is actually carrying a knife wrench.
Is he?
No.
Oh god damn it!
Knife wrench
For kids.
Stabs himself in the thigh with it.
JD, I just want to help you for. I just want to thank you for helping me move today. It was a real nice thing you did.
Pointer, thumb, pinky.
Janitor walks down the street, and then all of a sudden a Chinese family rolls up. You robbed us.
You robbed us.
I should have known that the janitor didn't have a Buddha.
What did? Well, oh god, remember the episode where JD drives his scooter into that giant pothole that the janitor dug out, and he goes,
"There's a manatee down there."
That's what it was. Is there a manatee down there? And he goes, Charles?
Oh, you met Charles.
Oh, you met Charles? Or he goes, oh, you must have met Charles. Did he offer you something? And JD just goes, we didn't explain pleasantries.
I think the janitor replies with, that doesn't seem like him.
No, he goes, that's Charles. Hey, Chad, if I had to name the greatest band of all time right now, what would you say?
Hibbleton. Ba ba ba.
Ba ba. Ba 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 brand.
Ba 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 brand.
God, we're doing a 9 episode Scrubs review.
It would need to be 18. Let's be real.
It would take us so long.
So in episode 14, we get
Oh.
Chuck versus the Seduction Impossible. They have to get these crazy ass bitches to be arrested.
Oh yeah, the return of the man.
We get Rowan Montgomery back, and we get Sarah in
Rowan?
a belly hoop thing.
Oh, the belly dancer outfit.
Yep, love that.
That shit also ruled.
Love that. So that was great.
Ugh. Dude,
There's nothing else that needs to
Rowan
be said about that
Montgomery's-
episode.
No, that episode. Two great things about that episode. Rowan Montgomery, Sarah in a belly dancer outfit.
Yvonne Stravsky.
Srosky.
So in the next episode, we actually get arguably my favorite episode of the season, mostly because I love the guest star in this one. What's her name? Nope, that's not her. That's not her. There it is. We get another Scrubs cameo. So in Chuck versus the Cat Squad, we get to meet Sarah and what was Sarah's old partner's name? Corinna. So we get Sarah
Corinna?
and Corinna's old unit made up of what was her name?
I don't remember their names.
Hang on, I do. It was Zandra and
Oh,
Amy.
yeah. And Amy was the dumb one.
Amy
Dumb.
is Mercia. I think I'm saying that. Mercia Monroe. She was in Scrubs, my dear friend.
Was she?
In My No Good Reason.
I know. You just said the title of that episode, and I know the title of the episode, My No Good Reason, but
That's the episode
I'm drawing a
where the little girl gets shot and they're arguing
Yep.
about faith.
Faith.
Well,
Yep.
in this episode, Clark, God damn it, Carla and Turk. Carla. Well, Carla's trying to say
Carla,
it in
Carla,
a
Carla.
not crazy way. This is the episode where Turk has a nanny cam.
Oh, yeah.
And they
she
discover that
was,
the nanny is a thief, a smoking hot
Yeah.
racist thief.
Yep, she's a smoking hot racist thief.
And JD goes out with Heather, the nanny, played by Mercia Monroe. Mercia Monroe. It might just be Mercy Monroe, but she spelled it. Her parents spelled
Mercia?
it down. Mercia.
Who knows?
Mercia.
Who cares?
She was in
Marisha.
she was in a show called Impastor, which was actually pretty good. Until they left it on a goddamn cliffhanger in season 2. Fuck. Anyway, so basically, it's just an episode where Lou Diamond Phillips is the villain,
Louis D.
and Mercia Monroe ends up being a turncoat, and the Cat Squad wins the day. Yeah.
Cat Squad does win the day.
Then we get. When did we get Lauren? I think Chuck versus the Bank of Evil is the first episode where we find about.
Yes, because they have to take her to the bank to get Volkov's safety deposit box.
I was remembering her showing up earlier. That's why it confused me. So in Chuck versus the Bank of Evil, they find out that Vivian MacArthur is a woman who lives in the lap of luxury in England, I believe. She's gone wanting for naught. She's not spoiled, but she has no real desires anymore. But they start to talk to her about her life, and she finds out more about her father and all that. And they convince her to go to the Bank of Evil, which is just a great name for a bank, by the way.
It's awesome.
I'm sorry, the first Bank of Evil.
The first Bank of Evil. Yes.
They
Please.
steal. I don't know if it's money or information. I don't remember. But
I don't think so. I don't think they steal. They just have her go in there to get the safety deposit box.
right. Oh, they were tapping into the database and using her as a deflection.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But at the end of the episode, someone comes to her who worked for Volkov and basically says, this is who you are. And like
I don't remember what the guy looks like. I know his name is Riley.
Yeah.
She calls him Riley like a million.
It's Ray Wise.
Oh, Ray Weiss. Yeah.
He's Riley. So Riley is trying to convince Vivian MacArthur to dump the MacArthur and go back to Volkov. Chuck versus the A-Team starts a little bit of an arc where we are finding out that there are other agents being trained to have Chuck's intersect put into their head. Not Chuck's specific intersect, but the intersect that Chuck had. Hang on. The type of intersect that is in Chuck's brain, they've reduplicated and they want to put it into other agents. So they are getting a group of Gretas that include Stacy Keebler, if I remember correctly, and Old Spice.
Isaiah. Yeah, it's Isaiah something.
Look, I'm on a horse. Now I have the intersect.
Look, I'm a horse. Now I'm an intersect.
And I think this one goes into the next episode where Bymore and Largemart start their little feud. But I also think this is the episode where Chuck and company defuse a bomb at a tarmac.
Yeah, that's the Greta intersect episode. They defuse the bomb at the tarmac.
Yeah, but isn't that this episode?
The episode we're on, the next episode where they have to. So this episode with the Gretas is where they defuse the bomb. The Greta intersects, and then the next episode where Chuck is trying to determine who should be the next intersect.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Is the Bymore feud?
That's right, because they're. Right. You're 100% on, because all these people now are vying to be the next intersect, and one of them ends up killing one another, and it ends up being the one that we all thought.
It was the one who was stuck in the desert for fucking 10 years.
Did you do it? Oh, because I'm the guy who looks like a terrorist, so obviously I'm the murderer. Then it ends up being the murderer.
Yeah, he ends up being the murderer. It's like, come on, man.
Way to telegraph that one, you dick. Yeah, Damien.
He goes, I wasn't your second or third choice.
Goddamn.
Yeah, because there's the guy who comes in that's basically just Chuck.
Yep. And I don't know if he's doing it nonchalantly or if he generally doesn't get it, but Chuck keeps going, there's just something about that guy I like.
There's just something about that guy that I like. And everybody just goes, ugh.
Then in Chuck versus the Family Volkov, the CIA orders Vivian assassinated. Chuck and company go to try to protect her, but Vivian thinks that she's in fact being set up. So she basically, this is where she kind of starts to go off the deep end. They bring back her father Alexei, which that doesn't go well. And it basically starts the catalyst of all this. And I think this is the episode where Alexei and Chuck get stuck in a room, like a little cave together. I want to say that.
They definitely are stuck together.
Yeah, because I think they were like handcuffed at one point.
Oh, he takes Chuck to find the final piece of the Norseman, right?
Oh, that's right. That's what that was.
And he has to play that game of chess.
Yes. Where if they lose, they die, because this is the Goonies all of a sudden. Then in Chuck versus the Wedding Planner, we get the return of Gary Cole. He's basically there to help everyone get their money back because they got robbed by a wedding planner.
Oh yeah, that shit sucked.
Yep. Also, if I remember correctly, isn't this the episode where Alex's mother finds out John's still alive, or is that in season 5?
No, that's in season 4. He tells her eventually. I don't remember which episode.
No, I think it was this episode because he's acting as a maitre d', I think, or as like a car parker, whatever they're called. And the mother sees him, and she's like, my daughter thinks that you're just some, big old spy or what have you, and here you are, fucking parking cars like a loser or something like that. And
I don't remember.
Well,
I've blanked on all of the stuff having to do with Casey's relationship with his ex-wife.
I'll reinform you. So when Alex's mother finds out he's still alive, she just goes in, denigrates him, like, you're a coward, you ran away, wait until Alex finds out the truth about you and all this. But then at the end of the episode, she sees John arresting all the people involved in this, forgery scam that the wedding planner is running. And she realized that he was who he always thought he was and said he was and all that. So she's like, all right, whatever.
All I remember about this episode is that they called in Beckman to get backup to track down this wedding planner, and they lied to Beckman, and he like faked a flash. Chuck faked the flash.
Oh, yeah. I think even Sarah called. Are you faking flashes? Am I? You think I'm a flash faker, Sarah?
You think I'm a flash faker?
That's a twins. Chuck, are you faking flashes? I'm not faking flashes, Sarah. How dare you? Goddamn. All right, so then the last 3 episodes is when it really kicks off.
This is when the shit hits the fan.
They find out that Alexei Volkov might actually not be Alexei Volkov. So they go and they find out that Alexei Volkov is actually a man by the name of, what is it, Alex?
Well, so is 21 when they find out that he's Agent X?
Because 22 is the episode, because it's called episode 22 is called Chuck versus the Agent X.
Oh yeah, 22, 23, and 24. Yeah. So they find out that there's an agent, that Chuck is not Agent X, and that the real Agent X was a scientist that Stephen J. Bartowski had worked on back in the 70s.
Because Agent X is the first person to ever be successfully implanted with the Intersect.
Yeah, successfully implanted with a version of the Intersect. And they find out that person was actually Alexei Volkov, a.k.a. Hartley Winterbottom.
Hartley, that's it. So
Hartley Winterbottom.
So before we even get to that, I know you wanted to just say the names, but you fucking skipped over the best part of the episode. So they go to England to find out about who.
Oh yeah, this old biddy.
And they meet Mrs. Winterbottom. At the time, we don't know who Alex or Hartley Winterbottom is. We just know the name. So as they're going through the house, they find a photo, and it's fucking Alexei Volkov. But Grandma Winterbottom has all sorts of gadgets and who's its and what's in her house, including a 50 caliber machine gun.
She's got a fucking 50 caliber, what looks like should be mounted on a Humvee.
Yeah, just has it chilling. And she and Team Bartowski are able to fend off. Let me emphasize, she and Team Bartowski are able to fend off a onslaught from Alexei Volkov's men.
Dude, come on, you got to let me get the line out.
Go ahead.
John Casey, you know how to feed one of these things? Oh, dearie, you'll be feeding me. And John Casey, I love this woman.
Doesn't he at one point go, "Are you my mother?" Or did I just always think that whenever I watch this episode?
Did he go, what?
Are you my mother?
Oh, he says something. Or no, he says, can you remind me of mother.
Oh, that's what it is. You remind me of mother.
He says, you remind me of mother.
So
this shit was awesome.
This also was the episode where that was actually episode 23 that we talked about.
Oh,
I think. Hang on.
Whoops.
Hang on. Because in episode 22, they were at Lake Tahoe, I think, for Chuck's bachelor party, and it may have been the same episode actually.
Oh, is that when they went to Las Vegas?
Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Okay. Yeah, that Las Vegas, because that's when Vivian's men, Vivian Volkov's men, were after Stephen Bartowski's laptop to get information on Agent X.
Yes. So all right. So this was the same episode then. Episode 22 was both those parts of the episode.
Okay.
So yeah. So I'll read the quote from the goddamn article. The recap. Meanwhile, despite Chuck and his guests' belief that Devin was hosting Chuck's bachelor party in Las Vegas, Nevada, they're taken to Las Vegas National Park. As soon as the guests attempt to escape the camping trip, they are ambushed by Riley's mercenaries, who are tracking the laptop Devin unknowingly brought with him. The laptop is the laptop that Devin got from Ellie, who got it from her father in the car. So then we get into Chuck versus the Last details. This is the one where Chuck and Sarah finally get their wedding on track. they're proposed, they're ready to go, but Vivian has the Norseman, right? That's what they call the Norseman.
Yes.
And the
It's a
Norseman,
weapon
go on.
that sends out a frequency that locks onto somebody's DNA and can kill them without any mess and 100% accuracy.
Yes, it vibrates the person's cellular stability and disintegrates it essentially. It's basically a non. What's the term I'm thinking of? It's a non-transmittable kind of radiation poisoning, essentially, is what it is.
Yes.
So they finally complete it. I think it's because Alexei gets arrested again, or they take away Alexei. It pisses off Vivian, and she wants to make sure that Chuck and company suffer as much as she has. So she unleashes the Norseman on who everyone thinks is going to be Chuck, but it ends up being Sarah. And I think they were doing like the rehearsal shit. And
they were at the rehearsal dinner.
And Sarah just collapses and starts bleeding and convulsing. And that's how the episode ends. It's fucking dramatic. And if you want to talk about traumatic, oh my God. So in Chuck versus the Cliffhanger, Sarah's dying. There is a cure to stabilize her DNA, but they need to get it, and it needs to be like really specific. So like they have to go back to Russia. And at the same time, we get introduced to a man named Deckler, right? That's the name? Decker.
Clyde Decker.
AKA the Sentinel. Do you remember the UPN's The Sentinel?
Yes.
I liked that show in the first season. I stopped watching. Never knew why. Rewatched it. I remembered why. Even as a kid, I knew it sucked. So Richard Burgi, who does Richard Burgi play in our favorite show? Mr. Davis.
Mr. Davis.
Brooke's father.
Oh. Why did you remind me of this?
Because I must. So he's basically telling Chuck, if the Volkovs and Volkovs Industries have been defeated, if you do anything more, you are in violation. You will be held as treason.
Well, it's also the fact that he pretty much doesn't try to hide the fact that he was a part of the cover up of Agent X, and this was one of the CIA's biggest falterings. And if it ever got out to the public that the CIA created the world's most deadly and dangerous arms dealer of all time, it would be a national crisis. So he tells Chuck, if you go any further, you will be committing treason.
Well, that's his formal reason. His essential reason is he just doesn't like Team Chuck.
He doesn't like anybody. He's an asshole.
Yes. So he'll use and he's not Beckman's. He's not on Beckman's side. He doesn't have any friends. No one likes him. He wasn't invited to anyone's birthday party as a kid.
But he's untouchable.
He was. But Chuck essentially knows that he needs to break out Alexei to find out the cure. So he breaks out Alexei in this great motorcycle chase where Alexei's being transferred in a container. Chuck breaks him out. It's fucking fantastic. But they end up having to escape Russia at one point, and Alexei has a plan to help Sarah. But at the same time, they find out that Decker's men have surrounded the hospital and won't let anyone in.
Oh, yeah.
So they end up parachuting in, and it's just Team Chuck versus, and Corinna's there randomly, against like all these armed CIA agents, and then all of a sudden John Casey's...
And Zandra.
So, yeah, but she's like in half a scene, and she's not even mentioned. They did not do Zandra justice. She was the hottest one. Well, besides Swarovski.
Oh, we're bringing back the Cat Squad. And then it's like at the last 2 minutes of the episode.
Not even. It's 20 seconds of a car scene. That's it.
That shit sucked.
So as they're standing off with one another, Chuck has the cure and he's parachuting in, and John Casey's worst nightmare comes to life. He looks up and sees paratrooping Russians dropping onto American soil.
John Casey looks up, and I shit you not, this is the exact line. He goes, Russians. So many Russians.
It's the best. The inflection's spot on, too. So many Russians. He's so angry. So Decker's like, if you do this, you're committing treason, you're fired. Chuck's like, fuck off. So he goes in there, and Sarah and Devin are like, we don't know if it's you're late. We don't know if we have enough time for this to work. I'm sorry. So Chuck starts giving her the cure, and he's like, come on, Sarah, wake up, Sarah. And then the very next scene, you cut to a church, and it says funeral at 12 p.m. And then right below it at 2 p.m. the Bartowski wedding. And I'm like, oh, you sons of two bitches.
You motherfucker.
It got me, man. It got me. I straight up like, what?
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
The best part about the episode was during Sarah's hallucination and delirium, they were flashing back to them doing their vows, and like Sarah had like a napkin on her forehead to like pretend it's a veil. It's adorable.
Oh yeah, because they wanted to do a dry run.
Right, because Sarah is just she
Of their
wants
wedding.
it to be perfect because it's Sarah, and she kept telling Chuck during the dry run, "Don't freak out." And then as she's like slipping in and out of consciousness, she tells Chuck, "Don't freak out," but she's like nearly dead, so it's like, "Oh, freak out." And it's so fucking heart wrenching, and God, I love it. But
Yeah.
then they get married and la dee dee da, and they go off. And they get into their fucking limousine, and there's two big surprises. The first one, who's the driver of the limousine?
That would be our favorite character, one Morgan Grimes.
And his exact response is, Morgan, you know you're going to have to let go at some point. He goes, I know, Chuck. Baby steps.
Baby step.
And he rolls up the partition.
Roll up the partition. Because you got it.
And they drive off. But they get a second surprise. It's an envelope from Alexei Volkov, a.k.a. Hartley Winterbottom. Hartley's been reunited with his daughter, and he tells Chuck, in this video message, I'm making up for lost time. And also, I've liquidated the entire assets of Volkov Industries. They are now yours. So they've been fired from the CIA. They have no job, no prospects, but they have the Buy More. They have the underground facility underneath Buy More, and they have all of Volkov Industries' financial resources. Oh, and there's also a pair of glasses because Chuck's intersect got muted by, I think it was, what's his face?
Decker.
Decker, thank you. So
Because
he's
Decker also hit Volkov with the suppression glasses, which turned him back into Hartley Winterbottom.
So Hartley got his suppressed, Chuck got his suppressed, but there's another pair of intersect glasses at the end of the episode. And they're like, oh, what do we do? Morgan, I think, randomly goes, oh, check these out. And he puts them on, not knowing what they are.
He goes, oh, spy shades.
That's what it is. And he ends up getting the intersect in his head, and he falls backwards. He stands up, and he says, I know Kung Fu.
He doesn't even stand up. He just opens his eyes. He goes, guys, I know Kung Fu.
And that's how season 4 ends. Now, that was supposed to be the de facto series finale, allegedly. But there was a fifth and final season that was ordered for 2012.
Unfortunately.
The first parts of it are really rough. It does find its groove, especially when we start to get to the Christmas episode, where Beckman and Chuck have to go on a Christmas adventure through the CIA.
See, that sounds amazing.
It's fantastic.
Why do we have to deal with you-know-who, though?
Well, we have to deal with Decker. He's back. And we have to deal with... I did like the... So Season 5 does have some good ideas, just like Season 4, but I feel like they weren't executed to perfection. With Season 4, I think the biggest issue was the inconsistency on the villain side. You had the great... Like, the first half... Not even the first half. Like, the first 10 episodes of Season 4, I'm sorry, are really good. Because it had a mystery. Who's Alexei Volkov? Where's my mom? But then... things kind of trailed off. They introduced Vivian and Ray Weiss, and that got them back on track, so to speak. But her motivation isn't as... It's not as honest, in my opinion. Because I feel like she wouldn't be trying to murder someone's wife for this. I feel like she would be trying to do something completely different, like take down the CIA or, get her father back. Her motivations and her actions are not simpatico.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that she has this whole rah-rah speech to Chuck about, you took everything from me. You took everything from me. But Chuck and the CIA didn't kill anybody.
I
Yes,
I think
his her.
let me
Well, she
interject because I
go
think
okay.
I think part of the problem is like let's think about this and then let's realize what they just did in season 3, which is another character just like this. Brandon Routh's character in season 3 literally had no issue with Chuck.
Yeah,
Up until Chuck shot him, he even said, "Chuck, I have no problem with you. You're doing your job." But I think if they had done the same thing with Vivian Volkov, it may have been too similar. That's my only thought process on the matter.
I mean it doesn't make any sense because it was like nobody died. you
Well,
know?
no. Well, her point was that Alexei Volkov is her father, and because of the intersect in the CIA, she never had her father growing up.
Right. Okay, that's fair. I mean, I
But
get it.
even then, like I understand her anger, but I feel like if that was the case, she wouldn't be trying to take away Sarah. She would be trying to destroy the CIA or trying to expose the CIA. You know, it's
Yeah.
like saying you're thirsty and then eating a lot of salt.
Yes.
The actions just don't make sense. Her feelings of anger and betrayal are logical, and she is even kind of played off as a sympathetic villain because Ray Weiss's character goes out of his way to manipulate her into believing all these things. So she was kind of more of a sympathetic villain, and that would have been fine for a few episodes. But like with the what was his name, Cole, the MI6 super sexy spy guy. An entire season of him
Oh
would have been
yeah.
fucking obnoxious. You didn't like him, I know. I liked him though, but him over 6, 7, 8 episodes would have been rough. I feel like that's the same thing with Vivian in this context. Like if you had done a different character with Vivian, she would have been a much better villain. But the way they
Yeah.
went with her, I don't think it worked well. In fact, I would have done it in a way where Timothy Dalton is in fact this great super spy from MI6, but he doesn't know who he is, and the entire arc of the season is trying to figure out who not Alexei Volkov, but who Hartley Winterbottom is. You can call him Alexei Volkov or whatever. I don't care. But the idea is that he's actually a good guy who just he has no memories. And at the end of the
Yeah.
season, you find out that his daughter was the one who's always been looking for him, and like all these instances where Alexei nearly dies, or they're being tracked, or they're being shot at. Like who's trying to shoot at us? It's actually Vivian because she thinks these people have her father against his will.
Right.
I think that would have been a better arc. And then eventually you build up to Ray Weiss betraying Vivian at the end of the season and having the big showdown with Ray Weiss's character and having Vivian and Alexei just kind of be pawns to Ray Weiss and the governments of Russia and America, respectively. I think that would have been a much more fluid kind of situation because then it's not about these former spies and spies' daughters being seen as the villains, but them being just victims in this grand scheme by Ray Weiss to monopolize power and to wage war. Because let's wage war. That one's right. Because when you have Ray Weiss on screen, if he's not the most maniacal, deplorable human being in your show, what the fuck are you bringing him on for? He's the greatest villain in TV history.
Right.
He literally plays the devil and plays it to perfection.
No, I mean I agree with you. The her using the Norseman on Sarah at the end of the season is just fucking stupid for no reason.
I feel like they figured out how they want because like the reasoning, the rationale, all dumb. The actual like she uses it, then the final episode, loved that, loved all of that. I feel like someone in the room went. So here's how we end season 4. Someone poisoned Sarah, and then we say that she died with a fake out, and we just write what a funeral on the wedding at the church at 12, and then we fake them out, and then we drop down the screenshot, and it's 2 p.m. Bartowski wedding. And everyone's like, yeah, but how do we get there? And then someone's like, how about we have a chick for the villain? Haven't done that before. All right, we're coming together nicely. So I feel like that's how they did it. And usually that's a good way to do things, to figure out how you want to end it and then build to it. But this was not that case. They were... I feel like there was maybe like a writer change up somewhere in the show, maybe.
I hope there's like some sort of explanation for it somewhere that we just don't know.
Here's hoping. So we got through that in an hour and 19 minutes.
About what time did we start?
I don't remember. But I'm looking at OBS and it says an hour and 19 minutes and 33 seconds.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad. So next week we will wrap up Chuck season 5.
Woo.
Woo woo. First episode, Chuck versus the Zoom. Morgan, did you just flash? Yeah, but I like to call it the Zoom. Oh, Morgan, you scamp. I am looking forward to seeing how this plays out because I haven't watched season 5 again. Mostly because I know how it ends and it really bums me out. I've told you my pitch for a Chuck versus the movie trailer, right?
Yes, you have.
It's the best idea I have. Did I say it on the air?
I don't remember.
One way or another, I'm doing it again next week then, because I have the perfect way of doing a Chuck versus the movie trailer.
That's fine. Chances are we'll want to speed through like the first half of the season, and we'll have to fill out time somehow.
Well, we're gonna want to speed through the first 3 or 4 episodes, and then lament the last 3. So we're really gonna live in that middle section, where Morgan goes on a Colorado adventure with some famous supermodel from the 70s. I think it was like Christy Brinkley or something like that. Fucking A, man.
Sounds awful, and I love it.
It's the worst, best thing ever. Let me see. It's Bo Derek. That's who it was. Bo Derek's a super spy. And Morgan has sex with her, I think.
Matt Riddle has ruined Bo Derek for me.
Well, Matt Riddle has ruined a lot of things for a lot of people. So.
Yeah, well, because he named his dumb fucking not Tombstone pile driver the Bro Derek, and I hate it.
He's not a good man.
He sucks.
As a person goes, he is a bad person.
That was a like a question. I was listening to this wrestling podcast, and they said, "Who is one wrestler that you hate, or no, who's one wrestler that you love that everyone seems to hate?" And they go, "I don't know, but one wrestler that I hate that everyone seems to love is Johnny Gargano."
Oh, was this Dino Winwood?
No, Dino hates Gargano. This was I was listening to the Deadlock podcast, and they were answering questions from their viewers. The reason that they hate Gargano is just because Gargano can't have a match that's under 35 minutes.
They're not wrong, and he has no charisma.
Yes, you're right. And like I used to be super high on Gargano because I'm like, Cleveland boy, have to root for him. And now I'm just like, fuck off. I will claim John Moxley before I'll claim Johnny Gargano.
I was just about to say something similar. I was about to say I'm going to claim Sami Callihan before I ever claim fucking Johnny Gargano. I know they're Dayton scum, Cincinnati North, basically Kentucky.
Well, it's like they were talking about it, and they were talking about the whole like NXT Japan stuff and what happens, if WWE would be able to get their hands on everything over in Japan, which wouldn't happen. But like what would they do with these DDT guys? It's like, oh yeah, Dan Shokudino, go have a 35-minute Gargano match. Like it's just shit that's not gonna happen,
So I might be showing my age, but give me a 5-minute Ken Shamrock, 4.5-minute Bill Goldberg match, and I'm a happy boy.
Dude, if Goldberg and Shamrock got in there and just whipped the shit out of each other, that shit would rule.
Someone call 911. Someone call the Elite Guard. Someone call the AARP.
Did you just say the Elite Guard?
I did. Someone get Chad Collier, Hernandez, and Onyx down here.
Whatever happened to Onyx?
Fun fact, do you know that TNA brought in Onyx on the recommendation of AJ Styles because they were both NWA Wildside wrestlers together?
Say that one more time.
Onyx and AJ Styles used to wrestle on the NWA Wildside together.
Wow, that's crazy.
The 3 biggest names from NWA Wildside were who? Can you name them? Onyx, AJ Styles, and... Lettering and...
Oh,
Lettering and Air Paris.
Oh, Air Paris. Oh, how did I forget about Air Paris? What was their tag team name in WCW?
Air Raid. Oh, and by the by, Air
Okay,
Paris was at the last set of TNA tapings.
You fucking what now?
So I follow this gentleman on Twitter who tweets out spoilers to shows in the Atlanta area. TNA just did their tapings in Atlanta 2 weeks ago, or like last weekend. And while he was there, he met Air Paris, who was in the audience.
That shit rules. Can he
Like,
still air Paris or is he land Paris now?
he might be slightly more leap over tall buildings Paris.
Okay. All right. Dude. Oh man.
Maybe
Just
more like leap
fucking
over low hanging swing sets Paris, but
dude. Old TNA rules.
it's so bad. Because like you get these amazing TNA X Division matches, and then you get like Psycho the Puppet Dwarf jerking off in a box.
Oh, Psycho the Puppet Dwarf.
Not
Was Psycho the
great.
Puppet Dwarf the one that pulled the gun?
Yep. Yes, he was.
And then Jeff Jarrett fucking nailed him with the guitar.
You knew that Vince Russo and Jeff Jarrett were writing those shows to entertain themselves.
Dude, that shit rules. Early Asylum TNA Jeff Jarrett is the best Jeff Jarrett. Hands down.
In terms of out of nowhere nonsense fucking banality, sure. But
No, I take that back. It's tied with was it WCW or WWE where he had the shirt that said "Don't piss me off"?
WCW. No.
WCW. Well,
WWE.
WCW was also Slapnuts, wasn't it?
Yeah, WCW was Slapnuts. WWE was Don't Piss Me Off.
Don't piss me off and Slapnuts.
Because they edited the shirt on the action figure to say "Don't make me mad."
Oh yeah, don't piss me off. Jeff Jarrett was great.
Legitimately, the three best eras of Jeff Jarrett were Late Asylum Jeff Jarrett, 04, 06 Jeff Jarrett, and then Angle Feud Jeff Jarrett.
Is that Planet Jarrett?
Yes.
06?
Late 05 to late 06, like that entire year run.
Yeah.
Because when Jarrett got the belt back.
Talking, for the third one, are you talking the 2011 Angle feud?
I'm talking anything.
Lockdown cage match?
Anything with Jeff Jarrett and Kurt Angle. From 08 to 2011. Anything involving Kurt Angle.
You want to know something cool?
Yes.
I was live in attendance for the Lockdown 2011 cage match.
Because it was in Northern Kentucky, Cincinnati.
Yes, and I saw Kurt Angle do that fucking sweet ass moonsault off the cage and eat shit.
Yes, he did. He knocked 5 years off his career on that one.
Dude, I remember that pay-per-view being good.
It was real good. The only problem with it was that they put the world title match second to last, and they had to end on some bullshit. And then Ric Flair wrestled in a suit. Not a suit. He wrestled in dress clothes because he was in khakis and like a silk T-shirt. Maybe not silk, but it was like something like that, polyester.
You know, like late Flair, like not wearing dress shirts. I'm just gonna wear these like dress T-shirts.
Yup.
Dude, that shit rules.
Jeff Jarrett, man.
That's JEFF, haha, JARRET. That's double J, Jeff Jarrett. Ain't I great?
I just love that you added the haha. That's fantastic.
So the what you cut off from me.
I said I love that you added the haha.
Oh yeah, every time it's the JEFF, haha.
But he does it JEFF, haha, JARRET. You just said JEFF, ha ha.
Yeah, I got to get through it quick. I don't want to try and take what he did. I just have to let people know that I can't spell his name without saying it.
JEFF, JARRET.
That's wrong. It's just wrong. It's JEFF, haha, JARRET.
So next week we're talking about season 5 of Chuck. Then you're gonna be the picker of shows.
I gotta find a fucking show for us to watch.
I do want you to watch the pilot of Reaper and see if you enjoy it.
Okay.
I already know you're gonna have an issue with it because your least favorite character from Arrow is one of the actors in it.
Who's my least favorite character from Arrow?
It's everyone's least favorite character from Arrow.
I don't know if I remember anything about Arrow. I haven't watched shit in so while.
Did you watch it in season 5?
Dude, I think I stopped watching after season 4.
Okay, so then you may not have met Renee Ramirez. Wild Dog.
No. Oh, Wild Dog. Yes. Okay. You got me. The hockey jersey.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I remember Renee. Oh,
Well, it does not seem like you have a problem with him. So, Rick
no,
Gonzalez.
I do.
Oh, okay. Rick Gonzalez is in um, Reaper, but he's hilarious in Reaper because he's like this like real sweet, sensitive guy. And at one point, he even dates a succubus, and he doesn't know how
Oh,
to break up with her because he's just so nice. And then his buddy's like, "Yeah, and you also don't want to die." Well, and then there's that. So, watch it, see what you think, let me know, get back to me.
will do.
Watch it this
I
weekend so we
will.
can start prepping for whatever the next show is going to be.
Yeah, I'll watch it, and then if I decide against it, I will have a show. I will have a show picked come Monday.
Alrighty. So, realnerdcorp.com, RealNerdcorp.com. You can find us on twitch.tv/Comic and GameCorp every Friday night at 9 p.m. usually, and youtube.com on Comic and GameCorp as well. You have to search for that. The URL is not in place. We're also on Twitter at NERDCORP and on Instagram at RealNerdCorp. If you missed any of our past podcasts, you want to catch up on our comic side of things, on our wrestling side of things, you can do so by going to realnerdcorp.podbean.com or by downloading the Podbean app today to your mobile device or tablet and searching for Real Nerd Corp and get started listening today. All for free. Swisher, what's your personals?
You can find me on Twitter at X2000Gregs, X2000GREGS, and you can find me on Instagram at 2000Gregs. That's 2000GREGS. Chad, where can they find your personal stuff?
Find me on Twitter at Chad Nerdcorp, ChadNerdCorp, and on the Instagram at Chad's Photo Hut, ChadSPhotoHut. That's all we got for this week's show. Swish.
Yeah. I would say see you guys on Monday, but the XFL has suspended their season indefinitely for right now. So
Nope, they've canceled it.
they canceled the rest of the season?
Full out canceled. No more season.
So we'll see you guys next Friday.
Corona!
Corona. We'll see you guys next Friday for another edition of Chuck vs. Podcast. For Chad Porto, I'm Alex Swisher. This has been an Oh Hi Oh Guys production. Goodbye, good night, and wash your fucking hands, you heathens.